Welcome to the Extraordinary Health Podcast. I'm here with your host, Dr. Paul Bekkum. My name is Allie. We also have Liz here.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about breathing techniques and stress relief.
That kind of goes together.
They do go together, hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
You can't breathe heavy and be relaxed at the same time.
I think that's the point. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you can manage your stress, various ways to do that, and also different ways to control your breathing. Where would you like to start today?
Well, when we're feeling different emotions, such as being stressed or even happy, our breathing tends to change. And our bodies can really feed off of the way that we're breathing, if that makes sense. So if you're wanting to teach yourself how to breathe more calmly and coolly, so you're kind of relaxed if you're in more of a stress situation, it's pretty awesome how your body can react to that the way it does, just by changing the way that you're breathing.
Yeah, you can take a very stressful situation and get your body calmed down to the point where, I guess it gets into even a lot of people when they come into the office, they have certain areas of their body that do get stressed too. So you feel like you're starting to get stressed in your shoulders. Your shoulders are the area that gets tense right away. A lot of times I find that that's kind of just a structurally weak spot in a person there, and that's what we need to work on. But if you're in a stressful situation, you start to feel that tension coming on. Learning a breathing technique like box breathing can be super helpful in just getting your body to kind of calm down. Do you guys know what box breathing is?
No, I was just going to ask, I've heard of bag breathing.
That could help too. That helps people if they're hyperventilating or something like that there.
I've been there.
Get a little more, you don't want to hyperoxygenate yourself there, but box breathing is where it's usually to a count of 3 to 5, where you're going to breathe in for 3 seconds. You're going to hold that breath in for 3 seconds. You're going to blow it out for 3 seconds, and you're going to hold it out for 3 seconds, and then keep going through that whole cycle. So they call it box breathing. So you could be in just a really tense or stressful situation. Maybe it's at work, home. Maybe it's a situation out in public or something like that. Box breathing is a very good way. It's a simple way to even think about it too. Once you start to do it and learn how to do it. So breathing in, holding it here for 3 seconds, blow it out, hold it out, breathe in. It just starts to help regulate your breath, calms your nervous system down. You'll go from being in a sympathetic state, where you're really stressed. When you're in a sympathetic state, most of your blood gets it gets pushed out to your extremities there. So you're in that fight or flight response there. So that's where you're really, really stressed. And it takes it away from your heart, your lungs, and all your internal organs. So you're not going to really be digesting food really well then. So to get yourself back into, say you're just in an argument. You're at work, you got in an argument at work or something like that, and you want to cool down before you get home. Doing some box breathing in the car on the way home. It doesn't take very long. Even if you just have a 5 to 10 minute drive, you probably only need to do it for a minute or two on your way home, and you can have yourself kind of calm down so when you get home, you're not all stressed and wigged out once you get home.
Yeah, I feel like you just have to really be aware of what you're feeling.
Yeah.
And if you're the kind of person that can't get yourself in that position to do that, there's an app for that too, I'm sure. There's all kinds of breathing and relaxation apps where you can literally follow along and it will coach you on that breathing as well if you're that kind of person. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do and listen to the guidance.
There's even a setting on like iWatches, like iPhone watches, where it will tell you to take a minute. I don't know how many times a day it does it. I want to say it's like maybe 2 or 3, but it tells you to pretty much relax, take the minute to breathe it out, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, nice little self-guided thing there. And yeah, there's plenty of apps. I mean, I'll use the app called Calm. They have a bunch of different meditation type techniques as well as breathing techniques that you can do and learn in there. They have even educational things, so you can start to realize maybe some of the things that are going on around you that might be stressing you out, that you can learn a little bit better on how to deal with those stresses as well. So,
and that's like something people can do, like sitting, standing, doesn't matter.
Most of the time, I mean, I know in the app Calm or something like that, you can do it seated. Most of the time it's probably in a seated position. Some people, if they really want to do like a meditation or something like that, they might have like a meditation pillow that they can sit on the floor. But I would say most people are going to feel probably comfortable in a chair or on a couch that just feels comfortable to sit in, not to the point where you're going to fall asleep while you're doing it, but enough that you're getting supported properly and you don't feel like your posture is causing a problem, while you're trying to do it, because then that's going to be distracting for you.
So next time you catch me in my office sitting in my chair sleeping, I'm just going to let you know it was meditation the whole time. Yep, I just
really
was too comfortable.
About that billing issue here. So.
Well, let me tell you, these breathing techniques can definitely come in handy during billing times.
Being stressed out by the insurance companies.
Yes.
So I guess talking about breathing and stress, why do you think stress relief matters?
Well, it kind of, to me, when people hear stress, they always think of it in a negative sense, or what I would say is distress. They think they're stressed out or something like that. What people need to do is they need to have a balance of that, because there's also what is called eustress, which is good activities that you're doing to stress your body, like exercise. So it could be a cardio exercise, could be a physical exercise. Those are all stress-inducing things in your body, but that it's a eustress. It's a good stress. It's getting your body to respond in a way where it can have a healthy response there. It's distress, things that happen out of the ordinary in situations where maybe you're ready for it, maybe you're not ready for it. And it puts your body into distress. That's where people, if they have that happen on a regular basis, that can be a problem. I mean, that literally is going to drive up, not only their blood pressure and pulse, it's going to start to even lead to other health conditions too, because if your cortisol levels end up being too high for too long of a time there, you can start to burn your adrenal glands out. And then, on top of it, people are drinking things like coffee, like a pot of it a day or something like that. And that puts even more stress, on your body there. So having a little bit of it is okay. But if you're going to extremes with anything, that's where you really start to run into problems, and it gets into that distress or unhealthy stress for a person that, obviously in the short term might not be bad, but that's where you need to learn how to control it through using things like meditation or breathing, so that you can take that distress and be able to calm it down by yourself and not be reliant on, medication or something like that. And some people are going to have to take the medications because that's the only way that they even know how to do, or they don't know how to do meditations. They don't know how to do the breathing. So I'm not going to tell people that they shouldn't do that, but if you can learn breathing and meditation techniques long term, you're just going to be much better off in learning how to deal with these stresses, the distresses, in a more healthy way without having to use a coping mechanism or a medication to deal with the stress.
Yeah, I've heard it coined like in terms of like mental health. They call it self-soothing, which is something that you generally learn like in your adolescent, teenage years.
Even infants, yeah.
Yep. But a lot of times in this day and age, kids aren't learning how to self-soothe because they have so many devices around them and things like that. And so I just recently heard of a device. Actually, I've tried it out too, where you wear this device. It's got little monitors on it, and it can sense those things in your nervous system and your heartbeat and your breathing rate. And it will it's kind of a little bit abrasive of a beep at first, and it tells you, okay, you need to watch what you're doing, watch your systems, and relax yourself. And it basically coaches you on doing that, and the beeps will slowly turn into a more soothing beep, more and more soothing tone until you get to that point where your breathing is right, your heartbeat is right, and all of that stuff is right within your body. So it kind of teaches you how to soothe yourself without so many prompts like an app would. It's pretty neat stuff.
That's, it gets you into, they call it coherence. So getting your breathing and your heart rate matching up so that way you're calming down. What was that device called?
Don't quiz me on that.
Don't quiz me.
I can't think of the proper name for it right off the top of my head.
Like Apollo Neuro or something like that.
Is neuro? Yeah, something neuro something.
I've seen some of those devices, and I usually look at all these different devices and get them and try them out for myself. That's one I have looked at, and it's even supposed to give you soothing kind of vibrations, and it's supposed to help people. There's a measurement that you can have of your nervous system. It's called your HRV, or heart rate variability. It's not looking at how many pulses you have. It's the distance in between the heartbeats, and you want to have a higher number with heart rate variability and not a lower number. So people who think they self-soothe with like alcohol or something like that, typically they're going to see their HRV go, it's going to shrink way down. And if you have a device, you can get it off an Apple Watch. I have like an Oura Ring that measures my sleep and has HRV with it as well. You can even see if you've worked out too hard the previous day. You can see your HRV go down. If you worked out just enough, you're probably going to see it go up. And you just want to watch it over time. That's a definite one that it can help measure stress levels and how your body's recovering from stressful situations.
Mm-hmm. And there's other ways including the breathing exercises as well, but there's tons of other ways that you can manage stress, just adding certain things to your daily life, like going for a walk or even hanging out with your dog or cat, whatever your pet may be, your little fish. Giving yourself a massage.
You can take your dog for a walk. You can take your cat for a walk, but I don't suggest taking your fish for a walk in Fargo this time of year.
Well, you don't think it would thrive?
No, I don't think so. We have the water this time of year outside is solid.
Yeah, maybe it wouldn't be the best
ice
for a little fish. But hey, you could be at home hanging out with your fish.
But yeah, science does show that when you pet your pets, that your basically your nervous system relaxes. Mm-hmm. All the good hormones get released out of your brain and throughout your body. And I notice it when I'm stressed out, I think about going home and cuddling my dogs and taking them for a walk.
No.
2 birds, 1 stone.
There you go. Yeah.
Love the fur babies.
It kind of even going back to what she's even mentioning, even about like younger kids with video games. Really, when you get this feel good thing, it's that dopamine hit that you're getting, from your body from doing these things that are kind of pleasurable. It's literally the video games for kids. That's where they're getting their dopamine hits, and I don't know what it's going to be like long term for them. They're using video games to get those dopamine hits to kind of help reduce their stress levels. I think in the short term it's good. It'll be interesting to see long term when you have kids that are using video games really to self-soothe, if that's going to be a good situation or not. So
time will tell, I suppose.
Right.
I think that's where you get back to the getting out into nature. That's just a very good thing to kind of calm your nervous system down. You can start to take in we're going to get really deep here a little bit here. Exteroceptive things, or things outside of your body, including like in Japan, they have forest bathing, they call it, for people to help reduce their stress. So to literally go out into the forest and, take in all the sights, all the sounds, all the smells, using your hands to even touch the trees. Just using all your senses to just feel where you are there. It's just very good and soothing for your body. In doing that, you're getting outside of your body, so you're kind of removing some of the stress there and decreasing it there. Whereas thinking of like video games or even drinking alcohol or smoking marijuana is more an interoceptive thing. It's things that you're putting into your body. You're getting inputs from the video games and all that sort of stuff going in through your eyes. That's what I'm just saying. Is that going to be something that's going to be healthy in the long term? Is drinking alcohol long term a good thing for you? Is smoking marijuana long term really good for you? you kind of start to burn out, that dopamine. You can get into watching certain videos. We'll just leave it at that. I won't go too much deeper with that. That people get dopamine hits off of, and that literally can overload your system after a while, and it just is, you're not going to have good, healthy responses when you're trying to be around other people and all that sort of stuff here. So that's where, breathing techniques might be a better option for some people here, or meditations might be a better option instead of, going for some of these other external things that are stimulating your brain in ways that maybe aren't the healthiest.
Yeah, if you think about it, it makes the most sense to find a way to de-stress, again, that you can do kind of anywhere. You can't go and drink alcohol at your kid's soccer game when you feel stressed out, but you can do a quick meditation for a couple minutes. You can, do your box breathing, things like that. So you want to find a way to de-stress that you can apply to almost any situation, any location. And that way you're going to set yourself up for more success.
And that was I was in a mastermind group myself here just a few weeks back, and that was one of the things that kind of came up. We had a former Navy SEAL speak there, and he just brought up something, you need to have healthy ways to disconnect, and also reconnect with people around you. I mean, in their situation, they're coming back from, you have to have healthy ways of responding to stress. So that was one of the things, what's a good, healthy way to distress? For some people, really, is probably even looking towards a hobby, something like that. To me, I'm like, okay, what's something that I could do that gets me connected with nature or sports? What do I like to do? Photography, and then you can use that kind of artistically, so you're thinking in a different way than you maybe are on a regular daily basis. So, if you have a certain type of job, you probably have a hobby doing something else. Or if you don't have a hobby, maybe think back to when you were a kid or something like that. And what are some of the fun things that you like to do? And use that kind of as a meditation, so that literally, photography is like, okay, I want the light to look a certain way here. Oh, I see something, or there's movement, or that's how I would look at things more from a visual standpoint. But everybody's going to be different. Maybe they I like to draw back when I was in high school, or maybe somebody's really sick and they like to do calculus problems or something like that. And that's the way that they sit down, get out a piece of paper, and they are going to sit down and figure that stuff out. Or, hey, I like to play sports. Maybe it's, hey, you're going to go find some recreational league or something like that, and think of that as another way of kind of a meditation, getting back into something that's going to take you out of some of the stressful things that are in your life right now that you want to escape from, but doing it in a healthy way. So
if you're a highly competitive person by nature, finding that extracurricular sport might not be the best way to de-stress.
You might literally need to do something like photography, or maybe it's music. You want to play the piano, or maybe you're competitive. Maybe you want to have a drum set at home, and everybody locks you in the basement and they disappear for the weekend while you get your stress out on the drums. Whatever it happens to be. I mean, it's finding good, healthy ways to cope with stress can be a form of meditation. So, and everybody's going to be different. So
try a few things, see what works best for you.
Don't eat a whole box of chocolate every day, because that's probably, is this going to be a good long-term solution? Probably not. Not even diabetes, weight gain, all that kind of stuff with that. But maybe it's going, go on a vacation somewhere if you can afford to do that. Do something that's, going to put stress on your life here. If you can afford to take a vacation, go take a vacation in a different place, or a place that you wanted to go to experience different things. Because it just can open up your mind and relax your mind a little bit more, get you more in touch with, again, all those things kind of around you. See the sights, smell the things that are around you, experience the food that's there. I always liked watching Anthony Bourdain when he was alive.
Yes.
What was it? He had different names for the different shows, but I mean, a former chef, and he would go all over the world, and it's just experiencing the culture that's there, experiencing the food that they eat, the drinks that they have, the coffee, going around with friends that he Parts Unknown was one of the shows.
Yes, I was like, it's bothering me now because I've seen a lot of that. Because
just being able
to cool to
experience life in ways that other people experience it, so it can kind of enrich your own. Again, that's kind of really a form of meditation. I think he even did it. I mean, he was a former drug addict, and that was his way of finding a healthy way to escape from it. I mean, unfortunately, he kind of still had some demons, and it didn't. I don't know the whole story there, but I mean, obviously, I think he had. It showed up in his shows. You could just tell he really loved to do those things and experience those things with other people. So
you could tell that he definitely was outside of himself, he fully experiencing the different people he was meeting in the different places.
Immersing himself in that culture and all that. So if you can find something where you can get yourself immersed in it, that takes you out of those day-to-day stresses that you have, that's when you know that you've found something that's going to help de-stress you in a way that's healthy. And you can still experience certain things, just don't go to extremes.
Everything in moderation.
Yes.
I feel like everything kind of comes down to that. Everything in moderation. And that ties hand in hand with stress. Too much of anything can cause stress on your system.
You get too much money, you're stressed. Some people roll their eyes, but I mean, hey, you're a billionaire. All of a sudden you have a billion people coming to ask you for money, or they want you to invest in things.
If anyone out there,
everybody's got different stresses, and everybody relates to them differently.
I'd be happy to prove you wrong. If anyone out there wants to donate a bunch of money to me, I'll report back, let you know how stressed or unstressed I am. I will take one for the team on that and let you know.
Take one for the team.
So yeah, I mean, everybody's got different stresses is really what it kind of boils down to, and it's just finding those good coping mechanisms that you can do that are healthy, that aren't going to be destructive to you or anyone else, that are going to enrich your life, and hopefully even what you're doing, even if it's a hobby or something like that, can be something that enriches other people's lives too. So I just left you with nothing to say. That was deep thoughts for the day here, right? They're just thinking about going, traveling and experiencing different foods and drinks.
I'm thinking about buying a drum kit, honestly. Sorry to my husband and my neighbors, but it might happen, honestly. I've been wanting a drum kit for many, many years.
I just have pictures of the Muppets and Gonzo right now.
I would absolutely channel my inner Gonzo. Yeah. Animal.
Animal, there you go.
Alimo. No, I mean, back to again, everything in moderation, de-stressing your life. It's not just about mental stress. It's not just about physical stress. So when you're looking for ways to relax your body, relax your systems, you don't want to choose something that's mentally relaxing but physically stressful, and vice versa. So just find what works for you. Try a few things. If you want to learn how to knit but you find that stressful, maybe go into scrapbooking instead, Take your time. It's kind of about discovering yourself as well and discovering what works best for you.
Maybe you just like fresh powder on the mountain and you like to be hella dropped so that you can ski down the mountain in that fresh snow blowing up in your face so that you can get back to the lodge and drink a nice warm hot chocolate and go to bed.
I was like, look how serene she looks.
Making me miss my snowboarding days.
Oh.
There was nothing better, honestly, than waking up at, 7 in the morning, getting to that hill by 8 and being the first one out on that powder. Oof.
At 8? I suppose all those skiers are kind of lazy and they don't get up till about noon.
Well, and they're mostly on the bus.
Getting warmed up.
Yep.
Well, I hope that gave you some good information here on breathing and meditation. I mean, probably get into too many techniques because there's tons of different techniques, and definitely, I would say look at some of the apps. A lot of them you can get for free. You can try them for, 7 days or so. and see if you find one that you like, or like we kind of mentioned, just try and find a hobby that you maybe have just lost track of and you want to get back to it there, and use that kind of as a form of meditation. Just get so involved in it that it helps you de-stress. So,
well, thanks for listening, everybody. Go out and find your new bliss and your new hobby.
Have a good week.